Hello and welcome to Teching It Up with Mark. Today we're going to go over the SmartObject OData API. So I'm here in management, and the first thing I'm going to do is navigate to integration in the left node, navigate to APIs, expand that, and then click on SmartObject OData. From there, first of all, there's a link to the documentation, which is quite convenient for writing your methods. So we'll open that up. And while that's opening, we're going to enable the API. So you have two versions here. You can do either version 3 or version 4. Version 4 is the newer version, obviously, so I would leave it at that. We could choose which smart objects we want to expose in this OData API. We could either choose all objects, certain objects, or everything except certain objects. There's a record limit of 1,000 rows here too, so just be aware of that. So I'm going to find my leave request smart object, which is just a basic SmartBox smart object with the basic CRUD methods, including create, read, update, delete, and list. All right. Once that's there, we'll click apply, and I'm going to copy this URL and we'll do some testing. So you could put this URL directly in the browser, and it should return another URL that we have here. And this will give us the properties of the smart objects and the endpoints that we can call here. From there too, there's also, we can get some more methods about a particular smart object. So if we have this leave request smart object, so let's open this up in another URL. I could just put leave request directly in the URL here, and by default, this is going to execute the list method. So there you could see different leave requests that I have there. Mark Smith, Donald Trump, Kamala Harris, all in that collection. And that is if we just have that root URL with the smart object name. Be aware the smart object name might not be the same as what you named it in Designer. So for this smart object, if I navigate to it, you can see that the name is different, that there's actually a space between, but the system replaced that with an underscore. Okay, so once we're there, we can run any of the methods in the smart object. So if we just go to the root with the smart object name, we have the list method. This would also be the same if we put in the query string parameter method equals list, or get list in this case. Good. We could see the methods there. Now, if we want to get a list of the methods for this, we could of course go to the smart object itself and look those up. However, if there's special characters there, we may need to do it through a link. So if we go to the documentation itself, there's a little bit of information in this. So let's go for this in version 4. Considerations, not here. Let's see. We have a page we can get to. I just had it opened up, but now of course I can't find it. Let's see. Let's try it like this. I think it was ML methods. Leave underscore request. Awesome, got it right. So remember that this is without the little v4 at the end of the URL. ML methods request. We see the different methods that we execute there. So if I do that then, so I'll go back here. I don't need metadata, but I'm going to actually add this and leave request. That was the list. I'll put in the method get list like I had before. And I believe that's the only method I could actually use here, because everything else will be requiring a put. So maybe this is where we have this. Okay, this is the link to the documentation that we need there. I wasn't aware that those were different links. So for the other methods, okay, here we go. So for the other methods, and I just tested this before, this actually needs a post too for the read. We have to use different HTTP verbs. When we're just requesting the link in the browser, like we did for the get list, this by default just runs a get. If we click F12, and if we go to network, and we refresh this, do I have this filtered? Yes, we could see that here too. If we looked at the headers, it was just a get method. So in order to use a different method such as poster or delete or whatever, I'm actually going to use a tool here in Visual Studio Code. So within Visual Studio Code, I have an extension, REST client. So I have that. What I have to do for REST client is first create a file with a .http extension, so then it recognizes that, and then I just have to put in an HTTP request with 3 pounds. So let's test a get method first, and then this actually looks just like a request. I think I could almost copy and paste it from there. So this starts with a verb, get, then the URL. I'm just going to take the URL from something that we used already. We'll use this one. Then under here, we would put in the headers. So for this, we could actually probably just copy what we did from there. Where do we have this open? Let's just do this again. Refresh. Let's see if it's going to be so nice to us. Headers. Here. No response headers. Request headers. Authority. Accept. A lot of stuff here actually. But it doesn't have the one header that we need. I don't know where they put this in or if it's hidden, but we need authorization here. And since I'm using this on K2 on premises, I could just use basic authentication. So for that, I need an authorization like that. This will be the header. Basic. And look at this. We got a couple different options here. I didn't know that was there. Basic, but I'm just going to put in username, password, administrator, colon, the secret password. All right, let's see if we get a response. Awesome, we get the same response. So now I'm just going to copy this. So that was testing the get method, the get list. Let's try it with a post method. And for reference, I'll just go back to the browser. So I'm just going to do the load, which would be a read method. So let's just copy that. Method, load. Let's just try this by itself, see what happens. No appropriate list method was found. Okay, change this to a post. You're reading HTTP body because there was nothing there. So for the body, we just need a space. Content type we'll put as application JSON, so it knows that this is JSON. So we need squiggly brackets, ID, colon, 1. Awesome. So now we just got 1. Let's get somebody more interesting. Sorry, Mark Smith. Don Trump. Why not? All right. So we're just reading things now, although that's with a post method. One thing I want to do is use a create method. So I'm just going to copy this, paste it here, and go back to our list. What did we name the create method here? Create, easy enough. Create. These are case sensitive too, these URLs. So be very, very careful with case sensitivity. And then there we just had to put in the input. So the same we would for a request. I'm just going to borrow this here so I don't have to type everything myself. ID we don't need, that will be created there. Leave request title. Test. Employee name. Let's see, I don't want to be too political. Hard to avoid this time of year. Chancellor Schultz. I don't know if I spelled that right. Okay, so I'm going to take this out, try to execute the method. Error reading HTTP body. Okay, take this out, execute again. Hey, awesome, we got something back. ID 7, so it incremented it, and we know there's something new. I think I spelled Schultz wrong. So let me just see in the get this method. We have number 7 there. And if we execute the method itself in management, we should see the same thing. Smart objects, leave request. All right, execute, get list. Yeah, Chancellor Schultz. Really bad spelling. There's a couple things to note here too. When only in management through here, through this category explorer, there is this option for API, and that lists the default list method here. So in this smart object, we only had one, but if you had several, you could set that to something you want. So once again, this will be what you run if you just run the smart object by itself without specifying a method. So here we put in get list, but if we took this back, it will still be get list, and that is because it is specified here. The same for the ID. If we're using some of the OData filters, we can change the primary key as needed. So that was a quick summary of the OData endpoint. What we didn't do is go through adding a file, just because it's a little bit late right now, but that is available in the documentation too from there. So I hope you enjoyed the video. Please like, comment, subscribe, keep me going with this. Have a good day, and until next time, thank you.